let's do this. Okay. Okay, we're rolling. Okay, so our client came to us and they were actually really inspired by another cloud party that we did. But what they made clear was that instead of doing just like a balloon cloud, they wanted to go for a more realistic cloud look. So the kids put together like their own like mood board. It's called, the theme is A Night Amongst the Stars. A Night Amongst the Clouds, not the stars.
Okay.
And so what they want is they want it to be basically white, but this purple hue is the hue that they want. That's like their accent color. They want the more realistic looking clouds. Like they don't necessarily want the balloons, but I feel like we could do both. Then they want this like walk-in thing that we'll talk about, like this like tunnel. And then they want clouds hanging all around the ceiling. Picture you walk into an aisle of clouds into the big grand ballroom. But before you get into the ballroom, there's a tunnel that you walk through, and then you walk through the door and you're still in the tunnel, and then you come out into the open event. Exactly.
My initial thoughts of the cloud tunnel was that it was gonna be something really cool and different. Like I've never seen anyone do it before. I've seen like, you know, those cloud installations on the ceiling and stuff, but nothing like a tunnel.
And that's really how a lot of our adventures begin, right? This starting point, which to me is the funnest part, is the beginning of an idea. The beautiful thing about what I do is I get to work with my amazing team on bringing it to life.
Well, my reaction was, okay, I mean, easy busy, right? Like we always do. But that was huge. I didn't know that magnitude of work that we were gonna have it. And I know I like to be challenged, right?
Did you get that? She said, we love to be challenged. We're going to repeat that somewhere in the future. I'm glad you said that.
For me, I like to think about how I'm going to do it. Or what do I need to do in order for me to create this?
There was truly nothing that I had seen that looked like this, that I could reference. So we came to understand that we needed basically white or clear balloons to form the base. We tested out different lighting to be the light that's coming through the clouds. And then we knew that polyfill would be the material we would use to put on top to basically hide the lighting. And polyfill gives it that true realistic cloud look.
You get a big chunk, spread it out so it will be together. Every time you come with these things, your client wants this, and we have a week and a half to do that. And it's just like, okay, I like to be challenged, but sometimes my hair's coming out of like smoke.
Okay, but we had way more than a week and a half for this cloud tunnel.
Oh yeah, for the clowns, yes.
Because really what happened was Aretha helped us test the clouds, remember? Yes. And really the first challenge was the glue. What will hold the polyfill?
And not ruin the balloons.
And not ruin the balloons. Isn't that mostly of the challenge of a lot of things, right? Yeah. Is like, what materials do we use?
Okay, so this is what I was talking about. You know, make sure you know where you're gonna put it. So I'm gonna put it like right here. So what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna go. See, this is getting hard. You see what I'm talking about? It's easier, right? Now, grab it and slap it. There we go. And you just fix it.
The glue gun and the glue sticks we use, right? Remember, yes. We went through a lot of different types, because if you've ever used a glue gun on balloons, it must be low temperature, and it has to be the right brand. We're gonna tag that in our description of this particular glue stick and brand of glue gun that we use, that I don't even know if they made it for balloons, but it works on balloons.
Now the polyfill and adding the lights, that was totally something new. Okay, so we started off by putting the balloons on the poles, taping the lighting onto the balloons, like kind of in a informal way, just since the theme was, you know, amongst the clouds. We just wanted to give it the effect that, you know, like clouds, they rumble and, you know, it rains, there's lightning.
We basically made the strips in an organic fashion, which is super important because you don't want straight lines. Like if you're gonna make a cloud that looks like it has lightning, it's gonna be organically shaped. It's not gonna be a straight line.
The first poll we did, you know, Crystal stopped us and she was like, maybe y'all should set up an arch and see how it works. And thank God we did, because if not, we would have had to rewire all the lighting.
You see how this, so we can get them all paired before we even put them up. But at the ends where the little plug-ins at, you got this little 3M tape right here where we can just put that onto the, you see what I'm saying, onto the light right there. So you, whenever we pair them up, it'll already be on, it'll be what it is on the, it'll be the one that's paired to the balloon. You see what I mean? Because you get, I was trying to pair them all together. You still pair it with these, put them to the same thing, but it don't work like that. Because you got to reset it once it's paired to something else to pair it to another one.
One of the most interesting parts of what we do and what people don't account for, especially if somebody else wants to try this idea, is how much labor it takes to make this tunnel.
First of all, we need time. I think the time is the most important. Me, on the beginning, it took me like 3 hours.
I think I started to get a little worried when...
You always gamble.
Well, hold on, and I have reason. But I started to get a little bit worried because we were 2 weeks out. Angie had did her first 10 feet and it took her 3 hours. And I was like, wait, if this is 3 hours times 24, like...
The tunnel consisted of 8 30-foot arches, and each arch had 3 10-foot poles. She's saying one 10-foot pole took her 3 hours at the start, but once she found her groove, it took 1.5 hours.
That's how I think. It's like, okay, we need reinforcement. What's the update? What's the update? Very smart. And we got 4 of them.
Yep. You need 20 of them.
But more people are coming tomorrow to help.
Tomorrow? Okay.
Tomorrow we got Nisha, Amanda, Valencia, Kyra.
Oh.
Yeah. We got these for the Amanda, for the tunnel. The light plugins.
On each side. So transport is something that a lot of times when you're building an idea, you're not thinking about that. And specifically when you're pricing the idea, you just always have to take that into account, right? At first, my idea was to put the 3 10-foot arches together, put the lighting on it, put the polyfill on it, okay? And transport it fully together, okay? Because I'm thinking about my team, I'm thinking about how much time they have to do it. This is a super labor intensive project, right? That didn't work out.
Well, while we were building it, we kind of could tell that it wasn't gonna be like perfect when it showed up to the event, because the polyfill was like just very light and just delicate. transporting it, you know, dealing with white balloons, it's really easy to get dirty. And along with the polyfill just flying off and stuff, we just knew we had to pack extra polyfill, all the hot glue guns, and just like, you know, perfect it after they were put up. That was our idea. Like once we saw what it was like put in place, it was better to like fill in the gaps on where we needed to do.
One thing that people don't understand really specifically about popping parties is we're an event planning agency. That means that we do multiple event services. We're very, very good at what we do, and we do multiple events a lot of times in a day. And so sometimes we have to split off, you know, we have to divide and conquer. And this weekend was no exception. It was a hell of a week. Okay. What you have to do is you have to build a great team.
So Crystal put the responsibility of me being the head of the event, which I knew prior to the event, but obviously it made me a little nervous because it was something new and a lot of responsibility. But once we got there, I knew I had a pretty solid team. We even had like extra help and everything. I did get a little bit nervous here and there, worried about like how things were gonna come out, but I just had to like stick to my guns and like, you know, tell everybody like we have this much time, I need you to move on to this. Like just kind of taking on what Crystal does and like applying it to my team the day of.
Two beautiful balloons over there. It's the ceiling and then this. But we're gonna do this while they continue that. Okay. So 8 arches.
Right here?
This is the entrance.
Right here.
This is gonna be the tunnel of the entrance.
Oh, so this.
It's gonna come out. A2, B2, C2. So every number has an A, B, and C.
It was a little stressful, I'm not gonna lie, but it all came out so beautiful that I couldn't have asked for a better team. We came in with the impression of having 12 hours to set up, with the time of 8 o'clock being the end time where everything's perfect and we're done. Well, it doesn't work like that. 8 o'clock is the start of the event. You need time for pictures, you need time for cleaning up, you need time for us to catch our breath, like to eat. There's time. Yes, you have to allot time for everyone to eat, breaks. You know what I mean? Like 12 hours is really nothing.
Okay,
We're like 10.
I remember when you was like, okay, I'm gonna order pizza, and you guys only have 30 minutes.
Only
30 minutes.
I'm sorry,
Come on,
but you only have 30 minutes.
You gotta make this polyfill work. Because at one point I was like, even like separating it in little bunches. Be like, okay, we got how many clouds left? 10 clouds. Okay, we're gonna separate this little bunch of polyfill like this to fill up these 10 clouds. And that's just what we had to do. And I was over there being the Grinch, taking away polyfill, like Angie said, because I was like, oh, we need polyfill because these clouds are looking see-through. We need fluff. I'm gonna get some fluff.
Anytime you do anything, you learn so much from doing it. So what I would do differently, I would change completely coating the inside of the columns with the polyfill as much as possible before you actually get to the site and set it up. That way there's less filling in. And as a big of section as you can, I would build it on the ground, fill it on the ground, and then raise it, because when it's 15 feet in the air, it's harder for you to fill in the gaps.
I would say we would need to start preparing sooner because, like I said, we kind of switched from like another idea to the balloon idea pretty last minute, and that meaning we only had so much time to really prepare that idea and make it a real thing. So now that we know how to do it, we definitely can prep ourselves like at the appropriate time.
I think that that's like the intricacies and the details of just doing any project. It's just like, it's the little things, like how many balloons have we blown up? How many balloon walls or, you know, flower walls or whatever, fill in the blank. We execute these things all the time. And so you learn the little things that make the process quicker. But when you're doing something that's new, you don't know what that is yet. And so, you know, you have to take that into account, that there's a learning phase for finding that out. But hey, we found it out, right? We were up against the clock and we made it happen.
Like the amount of stress, the amount of problems that she had to deal with, and she still got it done. And it was amazing. Client loved it. The kids loved it. Everybody loved it. It was like amazing. 10 out of 10.
So we did it.
Mm-hmm.
We did it.
Thank you. Yes, we all did. Definitely. Seriously.